Picture this. You step into a room where every glance screams, "You don't fit in," whispers question your worth, and your biggest rival just tried to trip you up. But you walk out holding the prize. This isn't some Hollywood plot, it's a real, inspired story about a girl from New Orleans who shocked the Ivy League, uncovered a scandal, and rewrote what it means to belong at Yale. Stay with me until the end, because how she flipped the script on everyone is something you won't forget. Oh, and hey, before we jump in, if you're into stories about grit, underdogs, and moments that shake things up, smash that subscribe button and help us hit our first 1,000 subscribers. Your support keeps these stories coming every week. Who let you in? The words cut through the room, sharp with sarcasm and a hint of disdain. They came from Gregory Hawthorne III, Yale's golden boy at the National Debate Invitational. Tall, polished, rocking a tailored navy blazer. He was the Ivy League dream personified. His smirk grew as he eyed the girl lingering at the back of the lecture hall. Here's the scene. A national competition had pulled the sharpest young debaters to Yale. Think private school kids from Manhattan's Upper East Side, San Francisco's ritzy suburbs, Boston's elite prep schools. And then there was Maya Bellamy, 17, from New Orleans' 7th Ward. Her sneakers were worn, her blazer thrift store chic, her accent a warm, honeyed drawl that some in the room were already snickering about. She gripped her tattered notebook, standing out like a sore thumb. Whispers flew. Is she even supposed to be here? Did admissions mess up? This is an invitational, not a free-for-all. Maya caught every jab, but kept her eyes locked on the stage up front, where Professor Eleanor Grant, the event coordinator, was sorting the speaker lineup. Grant was a legging noun for her brutal critiques and a demeanor that said, "Impress me, I dare you." Her gaze flicked to Maya for a split second, just enough to clock her presence. Maybe her lack of polish. Day one was all about icebreakers and warm-up rounds. Students mingled, forming cliques, swapping names and academic bragging rights, like they were trading Pokemon cards. Maya. She stood alone by a window, fingers tracing the edges of her debate journal. That journal was her lifeline pages packed with handwritten speeches, rebuttal strategies, and late-night notes her mom helped her craft after long diner shifts. Her mom's voice echoed in her head. You don't need to outshine their outfits, baby. Outsmart them. Then Gregory's voice cut through again, loud and mocking. Hey, Professor, are we letting in community volunteers now? Laughter rippled from his crew. Maya's neck flushed, but she bit back a reply. Before she could say anything, Professor Grant's voice snapped. That's enough, Mr. Hawthorne. The room went quiet. A few eyebrows shot up. Gregory played it off with a dramatic bow, but the sting lingered. Maya's cheeks burned, but her back stayed straight. Later that afternoon, in the main lecture hall, Professor Grant laid out the first debate topic for the next day's elimination round. Resolved, the role of socio-economic background in university admissions should be minimized. The irony hit Maya, a freight train. Her pulse raced as she jotted notes, every argument feeling like a piece of her own story. She wasn't just debating a topic, she was defending her right to be in that room. After the session, students broke into study groups. Nobody invited Maya. She found a quiet corner in the library, cracked open her beat-up laptop, and dove into research Upum court cases, socio-economic stats, Yale's history of admission biases. She soaked it all up. Her phone pinged with a text from her mom. You got this, Maya. Make 'em listen. Maya gave a small smile, closed the message, and kept working. A quiet fire was building inside her. The morning of the first elimination round was chilly and grey. Yale's debate hall, with its towering Gothic arches and rows of polished mahogany benches, felt more like a courtroom than a classroom. Maya peeked in from a side entrance as the audience settled in students, professors, even a few journalists covering the event. The air crackled with tension and ego. Her name sat at the bottom of the speaker list, a spot reserved for afterthoughts, the not likely to win crowd. She tightened her ponytail, smoothed her second-hand blazer, and stepped inside. Gregory, naturally, was up first. He owned the stage, his voice commanding, his arguments a slick mix of stats and personal anecdotes, delivered with pauses that earned nods and soft claps. The judges scribbled notes, barely hiding their smiles. The next few speakers were just as polished, their confidence honed from years on the national circuit. Maya listened hard, mentally cataloguing their weak spots, flimsy assumptions, gaps in logic. But with each speech, her stomach knotted tighter. Then her name rang out. Next speaker, Maya Bellamy, representing New Orleans Southeast Regional. A hush fell, awkward and heavy. Maya stood, each step to the podium feeling like wading through mud. She passed rows of students whispering, some smirking, others just staring, waiting for her to flop. Professor Grant sat at the judges' table, her face a blank slate. Maya set her notebook on the podium, hands shaking just a bit. She adjusted the mic, cleared her throat, and started. Her voice was soft but deliberate. Before I start, I want to thank Yale for inviting me. Even if some folks here think I don't belong. A few gasps and stifled laughs broke the silence. She didn't flinch. With clear, steady conviction, she dove into her argument. She didn't have Gregory's flashy delivery, but she had truth. She talked about systemic bias, schools in her community with broken AC and no debate teams, and quoted Supreme Court rulings and studies on socio-economic barriers. Then she got personal. Some of us didn't grow up with legacy admissions in our back pocket, she said, her eyes flicking to Gregory for a split second. Some of us had to earn every invite, including this one. The room went still, the kind of quiet that demands you listen. She wrapped up strong. Reducing socio-economic weight in admissions isn't about handouts. It's about fairness. It's about potential. It's about making sure the next Maya Bellamy doesn't have to stand here proving she deserves a seat she's already earned. As she stepped down, the silence held for a beat too long. Then came scattered applause, not a standing ovation, but real. Gregory shot her a sarcastic smirk, muttering, "Nice try," as she passed. Maya didn't bite. She walked by, head high, feeling the ground shift under her. Later that afternoon, the preliminary scores went up on a board outside the hall. Maya approached, heart hammering. The top 16 would advance. She scanned their list, names blurring until there it was. Maya Bellamy, ranked 12, just above the cutoff. Relief flooded her, mixed with a jolt of adrenaline. She wasn't leading, but she wasn't out. Behind her, Gregory's voice dripped with mock surprise. Well, miracles do happen. His buddies chuckled. Maya didn't turn. She heard more whispers as she walked away. Who even is she? Some public school in Louisiana, I think. No way she outscored Alex or Priya. Gotta be a diversity pick. Her stomach twisted, but she kept moving. That night, in her cramped dorm room, she spread her research notes across the bed. The next round's topic had just dropped. Resolved. Affirmative action policies do more harm than good. The irony stung. They were making her argue about the very system some probably thought got her here. Doubt crept in. What if they were right? What if she was just a checkbox? Her phone buzzed. "Mom, baby, you've never needed anyone's permission to be great." Maya's lips curved slightly. She opened her laptop, pulling up Supreme Court rulings, studies on underrepresented students, and personal stories like hers. Then she went deeper, outlining both sides of the argument. If they wanted to box her in, she'd be ready to break out. The next day, the debate hall felt colder. Gregory went before her, strutting to the podium with a smug grin. His speech was a masterclass in cherry-picked stats and subtle shade. "We should admit students on merit," he said, glancing at Maya's section, "not sympathy or social experiments." The audience chuckled. The judges jotted notes. When Maya's name was called, the room buzzed with doubt and curiosity. She walked up, steady, and started strong. "This isn't about lowering the bar," she said, meeting the audience's eyes. "It's about admitting the playing field's been uneven forever." She hit them with data legacy admissions stats, Yale's share of top 1% families, the hidden perks baked into the system before applications even hit the desk. Then she paused, If you think only grades and scores matter, ask yourself, how many of you would be here without private tutors, fancy prep schools, or parents who knew the game before you could read? The room squirmed. A few jaws clenched. Gregory's smirk faltered. Maya closed with fire. Leveling the field isn't a free pass. It's about making sure the next wave of leaders doesn't just look like the last. The applause came faster this time. Louder. Not earth-shaking but real. Professor Grant's eyes tracked Maya as she sat, a flicker of something new in her gaze, not apathy, but respect. The next day, Maya's name hit the quarterfinal bracket, now at rank 7. Gregory still sat pretty at number 1, but something felt off. On her way to the dining hall, Maya caught two of Gregory's debate pals by the bulletin board, laughing and glancing her way. One muttered, just loud enough, "Let's see how she handles tomorrow." Her gut twisted. That night, an email pinged her inbox. Subject, revised topic assignment urgent. Sender, debate_committee_admin at yale.edu. It looked legit. Due to scheduling conflicts, your debate topic has been switched. Prepare to argue. Resolved. The American education system rewards conformity over creativity. Failure to comply will result in disqualification. Panic hit hard. She checked the original schedule. No mention of changes. None of her competitors had gotten similar emails. Something was wrong, but with less than 10 hours until her round, she had no time to dig. She scrapped her old prep and started from scratch, researching, writing, rehearsing until her eyes burned. By 2 a.m., her speech was done. She crashed with her laptop still open, notes scattered. The morning of the quarterfinals, Maya trudged into the debate hall, clutching her speech notes like a lifeline. Her eyes were heavy from the late-night grind, but her resolve was ironclad. As she approached the check-in table, Professor Grant's voice cut through the buzz. "Miss Bellamy, where have you been?" Her tone was sharp, almost irritated. Maya blinked, thrown. "I've been prepping for the topic change," the email said. Grant's brows furrowed. "What email?" Maya fumbled for her phone, pulling up the message. Professor Grant's lips pressed into a thin line as she scanned the screen. "This isn't from us," she said, voice icy. "It's fake." Maya's heart plummeted. Her hands shook. Who would before she could finish? Grant cut in. "You were supposed to prepare for the assigned topic. Resolved. Technology has eroded authentic human communication. Your round starts in 5 minutes. Maya's stomach lurched. No prep. No research. No plan. She glanced across the room and caught Gregory Hawthorne's eye. His smirk was unmistakable. He mouthed one word. "Oops." Maya's throat tightened. She had two choices. Walk away or step up. Her mom's voice echoed in her head. "You didn't come this far to quit, baby." She squared her shoulders, grabbed a blank notepad and pen, and darted to a corner. Her mind raced, scribbling fragments of ideas: technology, communication, authenticity. She could do this. When her name was called, she walked to the podium, heart hammering so loud it drowned out the whispers. For a split second, she closed her eyes, took a breath, and then she spoke. Her voice wobbled at first but gained strength. She leaned on what she knew: how social media warped friendships back home, how her school's obsession with screens killed real talk, how even here, kids cared more about their snap streaks than actual conversations. It wasn't polished, no stats or case studies, just raw truth. By the end, her words carried a quiet power. She stepped down, legs shaky. Gregory's smirk had dimmed, just a fraction. Professor Grant didn't clap, but her eyes lingered on Maya, unreadable but intense. That night, back in her tiny dorm room, Maya stared at her phone. No new emails, no more traps, at least for now. But she wasn't naive. Someone was playing dirty, and she'd just shown she could handle it. The next morning, she sat on the stone steps outside the debate hall, nursing a lukewarm vending machine coffee. The crisp fall air sharpened her thoughts. Who sent that email? Why hadn't anyone followed up? Her phone buzzed. Quarterfinal results were posted. She jogged to the bulletin board, heart in her throat. She scanned the list. There it was: Maya Bellamy, rank 5, advancing to semifinals. A small gasp slipped out. Even after the sabotage, she'd made it. Nearby, Gregory stood with his crew, his jaw tightening when he saw her name. His friends muttered, but he stayed silent, eyes dark. That afternoon, in the library, a shadow crossed her desk. Maya looked up to see Professor Grant. Miss Bellamy, a word. Privately, Maya's pulse spiked. They walked to Grant's office, walls lined with debate trophies and old Yale photos. Grant motioned for her to sit. I looked into that email, she said, voice low. It was spoofed. The sender hid their tracks to make it look like an official Yale account. Maya's throat went dry. Do you know who? Grant's eyes narrowed. Not yet. I've alerted the administration. For now. Keep your head down. Maya's fists clenched in her lap. I don't want to keep my head down, Professor. Someone tried to ruin me. Grant leaned back, studying her. I respect your fire, but this place chews up the reckless. Survive. A long pause hung between them. Grant's voice softened, just a touch. Make it to the finals. Then we'll talk. The meeting ended. That night, Maya holed up in the dorm lounge, headphones on, world blocked out. The semi-final topic had dropped. Resolved. Social movements driven by digital activism are less effective than traditional grassroots organizing. This was her wheelhouse. Her fingers flew across her laptop, pulling case studies Black Lives Matter, the Arab Spring, Hurricane Katrina relief efforts from her own city. Her connection to the topic burned through every note. But Unis Lingradani the trap could be waiting. The semi-final day dawned. Maya's opponent was Priya Shah, ranked second, from a top-tier New Jersey academy, with a debate resume that could fill a book. On stage, Priya's smile was polite but cold. The debate kicked off. Priya came out swinging sharp points, smooth transitions, calculated takedowns. When Maya took the mic, she shifted the room. She spoke from the gut, about online petitions sparking real change in her neighborhood, how digital platforms gave voices like hers a megaphone. Her voice cracked once, mentioning her uncle's death during Katrina's aftermath, how online fundraisers helped her family rebuild. The room went quiet, heavy. By the end, even Priya looked rattled. The judges deliberated, then announced the winner, advancing to the final round, Maya Bellamy. The applause was hesitant but real. Maya had climbed from the bottom to a finalist spot. As she left the stage, Professor Grant pulled her aside. Voice low, be ready. The next round won't just test your skill. Behind her, Gregory leaned against a wall, arms crossed, eyes narrowing. The final would pit Maya against him, and both knew it was more than a trophy on the line. The morning of the final round felt colder, heavier. Grey clouds loomed over Yale's campus, mirroring the stakes. Sanders Auditorium was packed faculty, alumni, students, even local reporters drawn by the buzz. The small-town girl versus Yale elite story had spread fast. Backstage, Maya flipped through her notebook, heart pounding but steady. She'd practiced for this her whole life. Across the room, Gregory paced, his friends hyping him up like he was headed to a boxing rink. Maya caught bits of his bravado. Easy win. She choked under cross-exam. No way, she's built for this. She didn't flinch. Professor Grant approached, voice hushed. You're stepping into a space not made for you, but you've earned every inch of that stage. Maya nodded, nerves buzzing. The topic flashed on the screen. Resolved. Traditional institutions remain the best guardians of academic integrity. The irony was almost funny. The auditorium hushed as the moderator stepped up. Welcome to the final round of the Yale National Invitational. Representing Yale's Honor Division, Gregory Hawthorne Free. Representing Southeast Regional Public Forum, Maya Bellamy. Applause roared louder for Gregory, but Maya barely noticed. The rules were clear. Opening statements, cross-examinations, rebuttals, closings. Gregory went first, all charm and precision. He painted elite institutions like Yale as pillars of knowledge and fairness, citing decades of research, trust surveys, even a former education secretary. The crowd lapped it up. Maya's turn. She stepped forward, palms tingling but voice steady. "We're here to debate who decides what academic integrity means," she started, eyes sweeping the judges, the audience, Gregory. "And I'm proof that sometimes the institutions we trust are the first to silence voices like mine." A murmur rippled through the crowd. She didn't let up, calling out the fake email sabotage without naming names, making it clear gatekeeping wasn't just theory, it was real, happening now. She wove in his story how universities once locked out women, people of color, anyone who didn't fit their mold. Her voice grew stronger. Integrity isn't just keeping old traditions, it's about outgrowing the ones that kept people out. Cross-examination was brutal. Gregory came at her hard, grilling her stats, twisting her terms, cutting her off. But Maya held her ground. "You're dodging the resolution, Mr. Hawthorne," she said coolly, redirecting him. The audience stirred. Even some professors leaned in, intrigued. In rebuttals, Maya took apart Gregory's argument. "If institutions were perfect guardians of integrity, I wouldn't have had to fight sabotage to stand here." Her words landed like a punch. Gregory's cool crackheadish rebuttal sounded rushed, defensive. When the debate ended, the room sat in electric silence. Then applause full, loud, real. Maya stepped back, breathless. Gregory stared at the floor, jaw tight, avoiding her gaze. Professor Grant, near the judges' table, gave Maya a subtle nod. The decision was still pending. Backstage, Maya sat in the hallway, staring at her scuffed sneakers. One thought looped in her head. Win or lose, I made them hear me. Gregory paced nearby, his earlier swagger gone, replaced by a tense edge. The wait felt endless. Finally, Professor Grant emerged, face neutral. Results in 5 minutes. Maya's heart thudded as they re-entered the auditorium. The crowd buzzed, phones out, whispers flying. Gregory's friends filled the front row, all Yale blue. Maya's section. A few new friends from the competition, and one local news camera. The moderator took the stage, holding a sealed envelope. After careful deliberation, the judges have decided. He opened it slowly, milking the drama. The winner of the 2025 Yale National Invitational, Maya Bellamy. The room froze. Maya's breath cautered, she heard right. Then applause exploded. Not just polite, but genuine, from corners she hadn't expected. Some students stood, others gaped. Gregory's face drained of color. Without a word, he grabbed his bag and bolted out a side exit. Maya stood rooted, stunned. Professor Grant approached, extending a hand. "Well done," she said, voice quiet but real. "You didn't just win a debate. You proved you belong." Cameras flashed. Hands reached to congratulate her. Her phone buzzed. "Mum, told you, baby. You never needed their permission to shine." Maya blinked back, tears, a wide, unguarded smile breaking through. For the first time in days, she felt something new, pride. Later that evening, she sat on the steps outside the hall, the night air cool against her skin. Professor Grant appeared, sitting beside her. "Thought you'd want to know," she said softly. The administration traced that fake email. Maya's breath hitched. "Who?" Grant's lips twitched, part satisfaction, part regret. "Gregory Hawthorne. The evidence is airtight." Maya's stomach flipped. "Is he under disciplinary review?" Grant cut in. "Nothing public yet, Jolly covers its own. But off the record, his debate career's done." Maya exhaled, slow and heavy. "I didn't want it to end like this," she murmured. Grant nodded. "I know, but you handled it with more grace than most." They sat in silence, campus lights glowing in the distance. The fight was over, but Maya felt this was just the start. Let's rewind for a second and soak in what just happened. Maya Bellamy, a 17-year-old from New Orleans' 7th Ward, walked into Yale's elite debate world, a place dripping with privilege and unspoken rules, and turned it upside down. She faced sneers, a fake email meant to sink her, and a rival who thought he'd bury her. But she didn't just survive, she won the whole thing. And now, with a Yale scholarship offer in her hands, she's proof that talent and grit can rewrite any story. Back at the start, Maya stepped into that lecture hall feeling every eye judging her. Her scuffed sneakers and second-hand blazer screamed outside her to a room full of prep school polish. Gregory Hawthorne III, Yale's debate darling, didn't just see her as competition, saw her as a glitch in his perfect world. His taunts, like "who let you in," weren't just petty. They were a challenge to her right to exist in that space. But Maya had something he didn't, a fire forged from years of proving herself in a world that often overlooked her. Her debate journal, packed with notes from late-night sessions with her mom, was her secret weapon. Those pages weren't just arguments, they were her life. When Professor Grant announced the first topic, about minimizing socio-economic background in admissions, it was like the universe handed Maya a megaphone. She poured her story into her speech, blending stats and Supreme Court rulings with raw truth about her community's struggles. That first round, when she said, "Some of us had to earn every invite," she wasn't just debating, she was claiming her place. The whispers didn't stop, though. "Diversity pick," they muttered. "She's not supposed to be here." But Maya kept climbing, from rank 12 to 7, then 5. Each round, she faced slicker opponents, tougher topics, and growing doubts. The affirmative action debate, a gut punch. It forced her to confront the idea that some saw her as a quota, not a contender. Yet she flipped it, exposing the hidden perks of wealth and legacy that propped up the merit myth. Her words made the room squirm, and even Professor Grant's icy stare softened. Then came the sabotage. That fake email, swapping her topic at the last minute, was a calculated move to knock her out. Gregory's smirk gave him away, but Maya didn't have proof yet. With no prep, she walked to the podium and spoke from the heart about technology's toll on real connection. It wasn't her tightest speech, but it was real, and it carried her to the semifinals. That moment showed her strength, not just in research or rhetoric, but in refusing to break when the deck was stacked against her. The semifinals were her proving ground. Against Priya Shah, a debate powerhouse, Maya leaned into her roots. Talking about digital activism, she wove in her uncle's death after Katrina and how online fundraisers saved her family. The room went still. Priya's polish couldn't match Maya's heart. When Maya won, it wasn't just a ticket to the final, it was a signal. She wasn't a fluke. She was a force. Professor Grant's warning to be ready for the final hinted at bigger stakes, and Maya felt it in her bones. The final round was electric. Sanders' auditorium buzzed with reporters, students, and faculty, all drawn by the underdog versus royalty hype. Gregory came out swinging, painting Yale as the ultimate gatekeeper of integrity. His charisma had the crowd eating from his hand. But Maya, she flipped the script. "I'm proof," she said, "that institutions can silence voices like mine." She called out the sabotage without naming names, tied it to a history of exclusion, and argued that true integrity means evolving beyond outdated gatekeeping. Gregory's cross-examination was vicious, all interruptions and traps, but Maya stayed cool, redirecting him with a calm, "Let's stick to the resolution." Her rebuttal was a knockout. "If institutions were perfect, I wouldn't have had to fight sabotage to stand here." For the first time, Gregory faltered. His confidence cracked. His rebuttal rushed. When the applause hit loud, real Maya knew she'd shifted something bigger than the debate. Professor Grant's nod said it all. Maya had earned her respect. Waiting for the results, Maya sat on a cold bench, hands trembling. Gregory paced, his swagger gone. When the moderator announced her name as the winner, the room erupted. Gregory stormed out, but Maya stood frozen, soaking it in. Professor Grant's handshake and "words you proved you belong" hit harder than the trophy. Her mom's text, "You never needed their permission," brought tears she didn't bother hiding. For once, Maya let herself feel proud, unguarded, whole. That night, Professor Grant dropped the bombshell. Gregory sent the fake email. His debate career was toast, though Yale's hush-hush approach meant no public fallout. Maya didn't want it to end that way, but she didn't dwell. She'd fought clean and won fair. Weeks later, back in New Orleans, that Yale scholarship offer felt like a new beginning. Professor Grant's note, "Can't wait to see how far you'll go," wasn't just praise. It was a challenge to keep pushing, to keep changing rooms that weren't built for her. So why does Maya's story hit so hard? Because it's not just about a debate. It's about what happens when someone refuses to stay in the box others draw for them. Maya didn't just win a trophy, she cracked open a system that thrives on keeping certain voices out. She showed that belonging isn't about fitting in. It's about forcing the world to make space for you. Her story screams that talent, heart, and resilience can come from anywhere. New Orleans 7th Ward, or wherever you're watching from. Think about your own life. Ever felt like you didn't belong? Like the room wasn't built for you? Maya's proof you don't need permission to take up space. She walked into Yale with nothing but a notebook and a dream, faced down sabotage and scorn, and left with a victory that echoed far beyond that auditorium. Her win wasn't just for Harriet, was for every kid who's ever been told they don't measure up. Every voice that's being drowned out by whispers of not good enough. That's what makes this story universal. It's not just about Yale or debates or even New Orleans. It's about the fight to be seen, to be heard, to matter. Maya's journey reminds us that the ceilings others build above us aren't made of steel fiberglass, and they can shatter. She didn't need to outdress or outspend anyone. She outtaught them, outworked them, and outlasted them. And in doing so, she carved a path for the next Maya Bellamy, whoever they might be. So let's talk about you. Where are you watching this from? What's your story? Drop it in the comments. Tell us about a time you had to prove you belonged. If Maya's fight moved you, hit that thumbs up button. It helps more people find this video. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, smash that subscribe button to help us hit 1,000 subscribers. Your support keeps us bringing you real, inspired tales that prove it's not where you start, it's how fiercely you refuse to back down. Before we wrap, let's give a nod to Maya's mom. Her words, "You never needed their permission to shine," were the heartbeat of this story. They carried Maya through every jab, every doubt, every late night prep session. That's the kind of love and wisdom that builds champions, and it's a reminder. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who remind you of your worth when the world tries to tear it down. Maya had her mom, who's got your back. As Maya sat on her porch in New Orleans, Yale's letter in hand, she wasn't just a kid who won a debate. She was a game changer, a ceiling breaker, a name Yale would never forget. And somewhere out there, another kid is watching this, feeling that same fire, ready to step into their own room and demand to be heard. That's the power of stories like this. They don't just inspire, they ignite. So let's keep them coming. Subscribe, share, comment. Let's build a community that celebrates the underdogs, the fighters, the Majas of the world. Thanks for sticking with us through this one. If you loved it, check out our other videos for more stories that hit hard and lift you up. Until next time, keep fighting for your place, keep telling your truth, and never ever let anyone tell you you don't belong. See you in the next video.